unleash your true potential and finding the magic in you, and a certified emotional intelligence life coach. He has a master's in aerospace engineering. Mr. Shivam has always been curious about the why of the things, and he's on the journey to make people aware about their emotions and their life. Thank you, Mr. Shivam. Please enlighten us.
Hello, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
All right, perfect. So thank you so much for the wonderful introduction and really wonderful to be part of this thing again. So talking about the whole aspect of mentoring and mental health and how mentoring is so much important for all age groups apart, because we're going to talk about the importance of mentoring, importance of and the impact of mentoring on our mental health, and also why in certain aspects of people, for example, working professionals or understanding just students or just school students for that matter, in all the aspects, in all the areas of life, mentoring does play a very important role, and we are going to focus on that. But before that, let's just understand what mentoring really is. So when we talk about the whole idea of mentoring, it's like learning something from someone. And it's not just about learning something from someone in a very basic and a very crude manner that we often learn in schools, we often learn in colleges. It's a bit more than that. It's more about understanding what you are good at. It's more about understanding what you really like. It's more about understanding what you really enjoy doing, and then trying to understand the whole aspect of it and trying to navigate through certain difficult situations, trying to navigate through certain positions of life. We are not able to maybe make sense of it. A very simple example would be cooking, for that matter, right? Cooking or just doing anything randomly on in your day-to-day life. So there are a lot of YouTube videos out there, right? There are a lot of YouTube videos about how to cook a particular dish, how to cook a particular recipe, how to make something that you haven't actually thought of before. And what is the first thing that comes into your mind? I mean, if you're trying to look, let's see, maybe you're trying to cook something that is very exotic, that is very new to you, and you don't have any idea about it. The first thing you would ever think of would be to look up a YouTube video for it. You start seeing the video, you start getting all the ingredients accordingly, and then you might actually start working on it. You might actually get a good dish as well. But do you think is it as easy when it comes to personal life? It's often we think so that, yeah, we might get a lot of answers from YouTube, we might get a lot of answers from motivation quotes for that matter, that okay, this is what it works, this is how it works, and then maybe I can copy the same exact thing in that particular part, maybe add the very fine ingredients, and then maybe we can get a very fine dish as well. But this is where the part where things get a bit tricky, because when we talk about cooking is such a generalized thing, right? You have to get some ingredients and then you have to make a dish. It's as simple as that. But when it comes to cooking and developing your own life, you have to understand what you are made up of. And that is where the tricky part comes into picture. Because we all are unique in different ways. We all have our own understanding of world. We all have our own perception. We all have our own value systems. And without being able to understand your own value system, without being able to understand what are you good at, without being able to understand what really excites you in life, it would be really hard to make sense on what to do and what not to do. So this is the part where mentoring comes into picture. Before actually jumping on to, for example, you might have read a lot of quote on Instagram and YouTube and many other places as well, okay, that do this and do that. I mean, just be happy, just be in the moment, just, I mean, a lot of quotes out there, a lot of things out there, and there are a lot of advices as well. But you might have listened and you might have thought of this as a lot of times as well, that when it comes to actually giving advices to people, everyone can do that. Everyone can be actually very easy to give advices to people, that okay, you must do this, you must do that. But when it comes to implementing those own advices in your own life, we often, I mean, a lot of us actually fail in that. The reason being, we have a very strong emotional connection to those particular thoughts. We have a very strong emotional connection to how we see and perceive things. Part where we need to understand the role of mentoring. A good mentor would help you understand what
So you're on mute.
I'm really sorry. There was some problem with the internet connection. I think it's fine now. Okay. So can you please shift to the next slide? Yeah. So when you talk about the whole aspect of mentoring and why it is so important to us, why do we actually need to learn the importance of mentoring? It is what helps us to make sense of things. It is what being able to understand your own true values for that matter. And this is why we say that just like looking up a YouTube video for cooking is not so easy for your own personal growth and development. Because when you're talking about cooking a video, just looking at any motivation quote on in the internet, those things would be very generalized. Those things would be very much generic for that matter, and those things might not actually be applicable onto you. In order to make a mark into your own life, you need to understand the role of your own personal growth. You need to understand the role of your own values, and a good mentor would help you understand your true values. A good mentor would help you understand what are the things you might actually click with, what are the things that you might get attracted to, and then maybe make a plan also for something. So this is why mentoring is so much important for personal growth. And the better the relationship between a mentor and a mentee, the better you'd be your personal growth chart as well. So that's what the part about why mentoring is so much important. The second aspect is about the whole aspect of in different stages of people, different groups of people. For example, mentoring for working people. We often assume that, I mean, there's a very common saying and there's a common understanding of people that our learning stops when we stop our university, that our learning stops when we get out from school or college. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that we often make, that we often believe that, okay, I have been learning my whole life, I've been learning my school days, I've been learning through my college days, and that's it. I don't want to be associated with learning or doing some courses or learning something new about my life. And I think that is the biggest mistake that we often make, because learning is something that goes on till the end of your life. And why is that? Because you are changing every day, every minute of your life. You're learning something new, your brain automatically learns something about that particular thing, that eventually changes your perception about that particular thing. Then your belief might change, and then your thoughts and actions might change too. That means a very small webinar like this as well might go on to influence your thoughts, might go on to influence your behavior, your beliefs, and your actions as well. That means I mean, just a maybe a 20 or 40-minute talk might is so much capable of changing your thoughts. Just try to think about all the bigger things that you deal with your life in day-to-day basis. So this is why I say that mentoring is not only for students, not only for college students. It is always there for working people as well. And there are a lot of challenges that people often face. Like when it comes to working professionals, there are a lot of things that people often talk about. Like they are not able to say no to their bosses. They're not able to do something about understanding what to do and what to do, how to deal with crunchy, stressful situations, how to make sense of things, how to be productive in their work, how to be successful in whatever they're doing, how to be a good leader for that matter. And a very simple thing is how to present in front of a big crowd. That could be a very small part of it as well. So this is where we understand the role of mentoring in case of working professionals, to be able to understand that this is the part, this is the very basic aspect of it, that a good mentor would help a person understand the role of various challenges that might come up in their own life, that could be at any stage of life, and trying to understand and navigate through those situations, the person might actually keep on growing for the entire life. In fact, personally, I've seen a person, I mean, recently I came across a very influential person for that matter, who is nearly double my age. I mean, would you believe me? That person is nearly double my age, has graduated from the top college of the country, has got his MBA from the top elite institute of the country, and yet he wants to work on his emotional intelligence, and yet he wants to work upon how to deal with tough situations and how to become effective leader. And that is why he chose to work on his emotional intelligence, and that is what we're working on right now. And he has seen some drastic changes. For even for a person who is at that stage of life, who has really achieved a lot of amazing things in life, been through the best universities of the country, and yet he is willing to learn about certain things, is willing to take the chance of learning something new about his life. So that is something that I'm talking about, that mentoring is always there for working professionals as well. And again, they're talking about university students. I think that is the real stage when mentoring plays a very dominant and can play a very beautiful role in shaping someone's career. Because very often what will happen is that when till you are at home, I mean, you're always under the influence of your parents, you're always under the influence of your friends and parents and various other siblings that you have, and most of your decisions, most of your thoughts are influenced by them, are governed by them. But somehow, somewhere, what really happens is that you end up taking choices, you end up making decisions that are somewhat not very much resonating with your own thoughts, your own choices, but are being driven by their idea of what reality, what perception, what kind of career you want to choose. But the moment you get into university, the moment you get into an engineering college or any sort of college for that matter, you eventually realize that maybe this is not what I wanted to do. Maybe this is not what I wanted to do in the long term. And then this is where you start exploring other options. This is where you start understanding things. And very often people end up being in depression for that matter. They end up feeling very depressed about, okay, maybe I'm stuck here. Maybe I'm lost here. I'm being lost here. I don't know what to do. I'm not enjoying the course I'm studying. I'm not enjoying whatever I'm working on right now. And that makes them very sad and depressed about their life. This is where mentoring can play a very, very crucial role into shaping this person's career, to help them understand that maybe you are in a field right now that you're not really enjoying, but what are the options available after this? What are the places you can actually steer through? What are the various opportunities available for you? A good mentor will help the person and help the mentee understand their possible options, to make sense of their mental health as well. Because I believe, and I totally uh, is a very big advocate of the fact that mental health is something that we cannot ignore, something that we cannot let go of in a very easy note. Because especially the world we are living in right now, it is, I mean, a lot of lives are being affected because of corona. A lot of being people are being affected because almost every person's family is being affected because of it. And a lot of people are suffering, a lot of people are being worried about because of that. And of course mental health is bound to affect, mental health is bound to be uh, 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 dependent on, affected by those particular parts. So this is where we need to also understand the role of mental health, and why we must always have someone to talk to about our feelings and thoughts and doubts and worries, so that there's a particular amount of guidance in our life. And those guidance can actually help us to take a choice, to take a decision onto in a better way, or maybe steering the career in a faster way. And it's not always about, see, I always believe that we always have the power of inside of us to understand things, to make sense of things. That is always there. You can always try to be a good learner, you can always try to learn a lot of new things, and you can always try to explore what the about the path that is right and wrong. And I'll give you a very simple example, that if you want to go from place A to place B in a very new city, and you have your own car, of course you would find certain ways. You're not using Google Map for that matter. You're just trying to travel from point A to point B in a very new city. So what you would do is you just take off your car, you just start roaming here and there, and you eventually might ask people, you might talk to a lot of people, you might actually navigate through some wrong options, to navigate through some strong wrong routes, but eventually you'll make to the point B. Maybe the point and the distance between those point A and B could be just worth 20 minutes. But then because you stood somewhere, you talked to some people, you asked for suggestions, you maybe made some wrong choices as well. So that 10-20 minutes ride eventually turned into 40-50 minutes ride. That means you actually wasted some of your time. And it's not bad to actually waste your time, but eventually that time could have been reduced if you had Google Maps. So what was Google Maps acting as? As your mentor, to be able to tell you that this is the part you need to choose. This is the part that feels right, that is giving you the shortest time of time, and then you're feeling confident about it. That yes, I can be totally dependent on the Google Map, and then maybe I can take the path from path A to path B, and be totally comfortable with how to deal with it and how to go about that path. So this is a very crucial part and very important part about it, to be able to understand that a mentor would do the same for any kind of mentee, to be able to give them the path that feels right, and that would actually help them move through their career in a better manner. The next part would be the mentoring for school students and parents. And I have come across a lot of parents, I've come across a lot of school students as well, who are very much worried about which career path to choose, what are the things that we might go through. In fact, in any teenager's life, there are a lot of things going on emotionally. It's a roller coaster ride, for that matter. It's a roller coaster ride. There are a lot of emotions, a lot of hormones are waving through, and a lot of hormones are going up and down in that case. And in those cases as well, it's very hard for even parents to make a mark in their life, because they end up becoming rebellious. They end up becoming not been they don't want to listen to their parents, they don't want to talk to their parents, and they often feel that their parents are not actually giving them good advices, their parents are not actually giving them the right advices. And this is where a person who can actually understand the role of that particular teenager, a school student for that matter, that whatever you're feeling is totally valid, whatever your thoughts are coming are totally valid. And then maybe if you're feeling about certain things, or something about certain thing, it's okay to explore. So it's okay to understand and try it out. At certain point of time, there are certain restrictions, there are certain constraints that when it comes to family. But in case of a mentor, you would be able to open up your thoughts, you'll be able to understand your thoughts up, and then maybe make sense of those particular things in a better manner. It can be in terms of emotional intelligence, it can be in terms of your IQ, it can be in terms of your own understanding about life as well. You are exploring in that stage, you're learning a lot of new things about life in that stage. And in those stages, if those things are being governed by fear, anxiety, or stress, Of course, you would want to be in a shell. You just want to stop everything. You just want to run away from everything, and then you just want to be in a shell. So this would automatically stop you from living the life, or just imagining a life that you would have dreamt of, you would have actually lived through, because you just happen to be in a shell because of all the negative experiences you really had. So especially for school students as well, it's so much important to have a mentor who can actually guide them through all the difficult emotions they're going through, guide through the various career options, because as a school student you have a lot of options out there, you have a lot of choices out there, and because of a lot of choices being there in front of them, they can actually have that decision paralysis. What is the right choice? What should I really take? What can actually give me the amount of happiness and even the financial stability that I want in life? What is the thing that I must actually get towards? So this is the part where people get confusing, people get really worried about certain things. And in terms of mentor can help you understand the both your IQ and EQ, to be able to understand what your true values are, to be able to give you a good career path and good career alternative for that matter, so that what feels right and what you can actually attempt in that particular matter, right? So this was the part about mentoring for school students and parents. The last part, again, just another thing that we want to talk about is that like we discussed before as well, that it's a lifelong process. It's not just a one day thing, that you learn something about it today and then it's done, you're totally fine with it, you're learning something and you get out of the college, you get out of the school, and your learning path has crossed. It is something that goes on lifelong and long, and you have to just keep learning every day so that you actually grow in life. And in fact, I believe that this is what makes the life really exciting, because when you are learning something new every day, you're automatically being creating new neurons for your life. You're getting lives, you're being so much excited by everything that's happening around you, and automatically your life becomes exciting, your life becomes very much bright, your life becomes automatically very much powerful, right? So that is why I always say that mentoring is not just for learning, it's just like learning, and it always goes lifelong. So it's very much important to understand that part as well. The very last aspect of the session would be about the importance of mental health, that in terms of mental health, mentoring also plays a very dominant role, because at any stage of life, at any point of life, there are times we're not able to make sense of things. There are times that, especially in a time like this, when people are suffering, and almost every family is suffering from this pandemic, a lot of bad things are opening around. And of course, if you have a very strict goal, if you have even have a very clear goal out there, long term and short term goals, even then those emotions, those bad things happening around them can actually, around you, can actually push you into a very negative mental health, that can eventually affect your goal settings and how you look around your goals. So this is where mentoring can play a very dominant role in being able to explore your emotions, in being able to help you work on your emotions, and then trying to take a choice that maybe feels the best possible choice. So again, it being able to talk it out, being able to understand those particular things is really a really beautiful thing. And I think mentoring and being a good mentor and having a good professional relationship with your mentee can really does do wonder for you. So this is all about from my side.